Early voting begins in the crucial battleground states with immigration as one of the top for voters out there.
Anyway, I gotta think about eating something soon, I guess. Anyway, this like actually sucks now. But I'm not outside, I guess. So obviously I didn't do this on purpose. Right. It's like clearly you think that a person is just gonna get with you the next day or something. He must have thought that at the time. And then he just decided that he was gonna leave instead of having another checkup. You go, all right. I haven't heard from him since 8:30 last night. So maybe he went to his appointment and then they talked to him and he probably told them that he's not going to talk to me. I know, because you go, I guess he must have decided that whatever he was texting me, he was just coping with the breakup. Right. He said he was sober. So if that's true, then that's the end of it. It's just like I said, I figured that it wasn't going to go good. I know you go after what happened with Faulkner Hospital. I have no intention to talk about this for months. No, it's not 2023. And I explained it about the nuclear weapons and stuff. So if people can't understand that and that everyone's on limited time in this business about constantly people are going to be in 3-week programs and 90 days and halfway houses, that can't make any sense. So if he can't understand that, right, you just go, you just cannot understand mistakes made. So I guess it probably the discussion should have been after smoking that much pot that he, unless he went to a doctor, he's not getting any pot at all, rather than do the 18, 18, 18. But I stick to my agreements, even though the whole entire time I thought this pot thing is insane. Right. So, anyways, there's nothing that I can do other than that. So I text again and I've called both phone numbers that he used to have, and that no one's picking up the phone. Right. So yeah, you go. It's actually been 3 days, I figured out. Today's Friday, right? It was Tuesday night, 9:17 was the first text after he left. And again, it wasn't even like, yeah, I don't know what just happened. Do you really want me to leave? Because I'm at the train. Like, do you want to just think about it and come to the train? And then the next morning, he didn't say that either. Right. And I haven't even gone back in the thing, but I remember texting something about it. Yeah. Like all of it just seems sort of like it. Yeah. It's kind of a little bit sad for me because you go, he really just doesn't even care. I know you just go, I know as a psychopath, I still believe that, but that's not going to change him. Right. I still say that he just decided that whatever this character is, he's never coming out of it. It's just too difficult for him to be his actual self. It goes way beyond depression. People have depression for a reason, but it goes way beyond depression, the stuff that he's doing. But um, I guess it went Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So today's 3 days, not 4 days. That was my error. So, yeah, I got to break down and see if I can get credit for this airline ticket. I was talking about it earlier that I don't want to do it too soon, just in case, because that's what happened with the honeymoon. It must have been when he took off. So before 4 days are up, because I had never gone through that with him still around. It's way worse now because I'm not there. I'm sure him coming back and seeing me there every day and his behavior, right? And then he went to jail and stuff, and you just go, if people, like he had to go to court to be put in jail. Like the cops, for some reason, were not doing it out there in all those days, and he was like yelling at the library entrance. Oh yeah, he was like yelling at the library entrance. I don't know. It just depends on Brian what he thinks is worse, going to the cops about sexual assault by coercion or telling you you have to go and not doing 2 things that you supposedly don't want me to do. Which thing is worse? Right, I guess I figured he'd go to a shelter. I wasn't like you're gonna sit outside. And when you're scared like that but just a reminder and no, I don't believe in tit for tat. When he did that stuff about the phone, some of the stuff that he's judging me on, I don't know if he's realizing the shit he's done to me. But it all comes down to if you love me or not. Right? It all comes down to if you love me or not. And some of the stuff is like, yeah, it's sort of like when he was gone in 2023. Right. If you loved a woman, why would you have me in torment like that? It's not really that doesn't really make sense to me. Because I don't like seeing him like that. It's upsetting me. Like, "Are you okay?" And now you've got me all worried and stuff like I'm not gonna be one of those. I have to move on because 'cause I'm flying out of here. I have to move on with my life. I'm not gonna be on a computer from Florida going, "Has anybody seen Brian?" I'm not gonna keep texting Jerry and Jen asking them if they've seen Brian. Yeah, I'm not doing that. Like I said, this thing that happened today, he can't blame that on me. Right. I explained about yesterday. I'm sorry. Yeah, I explained about yesterday because Wednesday he couldn't like converse with me to figure out what to do about Thursday. Okay. So whatever he's done, I think it's contributing to it and it's not just because I told him to leave. Do you get what I'm saying? Yeah, it can't just be because of that. He's clearly done something that he's now like flipped out about. So I don't know if that's a relapse, he was fucking somebody or something. Or I would hope to God coming to terms with your mental illness. I would hope to God it's that. But went to Harvard to look for a tent. Were we gonna go to a campground? Were we gonna camp outside because we weren't gonna go to Braintree? Like, that day, was he thinking he decided not to go to bed because he can't be in Quincy without me and stay sober. It's difficult enough to stay sober in Quincy with me, right? Just and then the stuff with the wedding, and that's why I asked, "Did you just get mad or it actually literally fell off?" Because it's all part of his sin doing that crap at Gavin too. When those 4 days after he left the shelter, he did not take that ring off. I couldn't he didn't wanna take it off. He completely flipped out when I insisted he give me that ring back. If I suppose that could happen because it's a different ring. Right, you go, "Well, that's why you had the ring you had." Yeah, that because it is cold, it's not summertime anymore, and it got real cold, and if you're dehydrated, yeah, that's probably it could have fallen off. Um, I think it was the speech afterwards, like, because when he says flipping shit, he doesn't realize it makes it seem like what he just said isn't true. Right, because I was like, "I guess," because eventually what happened and remember those videos about don't go out with people that use? Because you could catch an STD. It's completely different than it was before. Yeah, like, if you're holding back shit and you're prone to lying, that's not good. Now we like, it's not, insurmountable, but now we can I'm not saying if he did something, it's not it probably is insurmountable because of me, the way my mind is and stuff, and I explained it all. Why we had to go to detoxes before we had sex, all of it, and then we had to wait till we were married. We're sober then. Okay, like, cheating is a wicked thing that some people can never get over. They really can't. So, I've never been cheated on before, so I don't know, but I think in my mind, I don't know if I could get over I don't know if I could get over that. Um, so he'd have to be STD tested again before we could even have sex. It's like, here we are again with this business with can't have sex. It's fucking insane. We've been in somebody else's apartment. Okay, so again, you're there looking for a tent and you're the one flipping out. So what's going on at that point? That you don't get a tent and then you're talking about blankets. Was he planning on camping out with his friends or somebody else. Get it? Not I don't make any sense. Like, I don't fucking know what you're talking about. That's fucking ridiculous and crazy. That's ridiculous and fucking crazy. Like, I don't know. Maybe some one of his friends went, just fucking give me that phone. And when they looked at how he was talking to me, when I'm asking him like adult questions, you just go, no, until you can fucking come out of this and talk like a regular person, you need to fucking stop it. But you would think that person or him would go, I asked somebody to hold my phone. Remember at the library when he relinquished his phone to me? I still believe he relinquished his phone to me, and then he could act like I had his property. That's what he does. I don't know if he got super depressed because that wasn't working. I told him what was going to work. Also, last night, this is why I'm extra concerned now, but Brian does this shit. And I can't keep doing this because I'm leaving on the 22nd of October. And like I said, the longer it goes on, the less likely it's going to be that I even want to reconcile. If that might seem weird. Okay. And he's the one that keeps delaying it, not me. He is the one that keeps delaying it. Wednesday morning, he said something about, can I get my stuff? It almost sounds like my sister's son. Okay. And he was going to hospitals and shit too, because he was apparently, they thought, I don't know what he was doing, acting crazy shit, and then just trying to get right back in the house, probably without going to a hospital. Okay. Sometimes certain behaviors you can't get back in, and it wasn't like he was not going to get back in that day, right? Like you just go, I know some of the shit you go, why didn't you just hang around Mansfield the entire fucking day? Like you never heard of what's that, Johnny Cash and Walk the Line? Right. It's just, yeah, he is a little bit dense. And he has no one that's sane, that like actual married people to fucking talk to him. Like I told you, the world is so fucked up. Everybody wants to say everybody's relationship is insane and everyone's in a fucking toxic and everyone's in a domestic. I've seen it in the shelters. People are completely fucked up. Right. And once I know that people are doing that, it's been going on since we started going out. Remember when people would not let him use the phone to call me? They told me themselves they wouldn't let him use the phone. I don't know if it like there was a confusion and they didn't get into it with me more about they knew he was all fucked up and they didn't want him to call me in that condition. But they admitted it to me themselves that he asked to use their phone to call me and they wouldn't let him. That to me is extremely fucked up because I would have went right out to High Park. Yeah, that's really fucked up. Yeah, you go, how could he possibly be in a hospital or a jail and not make a phone call by now? I know when he was in court and they took him away, he couldn't make a phone call until the evening because I was already back in the shelter in bed when he called me. But I clearly knew where he was because I was in court when they took him. Yeah, and you go like this, you go, really? If the cops did this, you didn't allow him to make a phone call when you know it's fucking the World Wide Web and Twitter. Are you fucking kidding me? Okay, so I have to assume that hasn't happened, but I assumed that last year and it had fucking happened. That's exactly what had happened. And you go, you're doing it again when we're fucking married? Yeah, you're doing it again with fucking married? Because he admitted to me he was out of his fucking mind and hallucinating. And the way that he's talking to me, it seems almost worse than before the wedding. Right, because the ring wasn't off. And maybe it's because it wasn't text messages, but kept leaving. Yeah, he kept leaving. Like whatever it is that goes on with him, it's like he's in a rage that he knows that he has to get away from me because he doesn't want to say and do things. If that's the case, he should understand why he was told to go to the train. He should understand that. Right? Yeah, just how long does it take him to come back to clarity to go? Because, yeah, even last night, like, he will not answer, like, questions, and everything is obnoxious. That's why you wonder sometimes if it's not even him. I make him send photos of himself. It's that drastic of, like, a personality change. Like I was telling Candy, he cycled right into it. And I guess I should have seen it coming the way he was acting and stopped questioning myself. But anyways, oh, let's see. Jen, hold on. Jen, you're on Candid Camera. As you know, that typically goes on unless you're not watching my live streams. Yeah, Jen's not in the mood. Because she lives in Quincy. Is that weird? I was just talking to her about stuff about Brian. Right. But you just have to accept that about a person. That's why we don't talk all the time. Yeah, we don't talk all the time because she's in a mood. She does the same shit. Because I'm trying to find out what's going on with my husband. Okay. And you're in Quincy. Sorry. I thought we were getting along. It doesn't matter, but she probably forgot when she was divorcing Joanne, and she was asking people to let her know when she showed up at the shelter so she could have her process served. Maybe we went, I don't want anything to do with this. I sent her 2 pictures and I asked her if she's seen him. Trying to get him. She should know I'm trying to get him to go to a hospital. I'm not having him sectioned. She writes, I'll be real honest. I'm not his babysitter. Nothing to do with your husband at all. So I just said, okay, I understand. I do understand. I'm not even mad, but you just go, that's part of the reason we don't talk. It's okay. Jen can be as crazy as she wants, and we all accept her. But if you're crazy, that's how Jen acts. And you just have to accept that about her. Completely like that. And maybe that's how Brian is too. Because I would hope to God that Brian, whoever was advising Jen, but with Jen, it's true in terms of me, right? With Brian, it shouldn't be true in terms of him because I'm his wife and he already made a decision before one of these fucking episodes, again after one of those episodes, again before one of those episodes, again after he's already been through this a couple of times, so those people should understand. It's not a fucking toxic relationship. The man's mentally ill. Okay. And he's newly sober after a very long time of drinking, and we're homeless. And there's been a whole bunch of shit going on. Not we're in a fucking toxic. I know what a fucking toxic is. Right. I've been in a toxic briefly so that I would understand it. That is not what this is. So please get that out of your fucking head. Oh, there's an ambulance. See how easy that is? And a fire truck. Who's this for? It happens all the time here. It's elderly housing. And sometimes they just come to pick the person up because they fell down. Right? So, anyways, this is why. Yes, he has been a little bit all over the place and not making sense, but I don't think he makes this much less sense. That's what I'm saying. I was just texting back and forth with him yesterday. Was it yesterday? We talked on the phone like 3 times. And right, he is saying he's not saying he wants a divorce. Okay, he had said previously he's miserable, he misses me. Right. So going up screaming at me when he clearly wanted to get back together with me. That is what Brian does. So please get it out of your fucking head to try to go, she should just leave him alone, or he should just leave her alone. Just shut the fuck up. We're adults, and I'm stone cold sober. Okay. There's a long, long history of this. It's because he goes into fucking episodes, not he doesn't want to be with me. So, and this is why it's more concerning. It had already calmed down and cooled off, and we weren't doing that back and forth anymore. And you can probably tell it from my Facebook. Okay. So, he seemed to accept and understand why I didn't come out on Thursday for the eye appointment. Okay. His provider appointment was today, and he said he was going. Okay. So this is my concern if something happened with his fucking text messages and he never got it. But because he might be like, she didn't even fucking show up here. Okay, because you go, "What is going on, Brian? What is going on?" Because in the text messages, the texting stopped right when I was trying to ask you about coming out there because Candy was gonna fucking drive me out there. I have the stuff that you were talking about and your watch that you didn't mention that just came yesterday. Okay. I have the hotspot. I have your watch. I have your dirty clothes and your clean clothes. I'm sorry, I have not had time to do laundry that we plan to do because I'm not even fucking sleeping. But I'm still able to talk on a phone and exchange text messages and not completely fucking ignore you. And this is the other thing. The night before, he goes, "I'm not ignoring you. My phone died and I had to put it on the charger. So I'm a little bit concerned that something happened to his phone." So I hope he doesn't think that I just completely blew him off. Get what I'm saying? Okay, because I explained to him my concern about the phone thing from before when he said, "I just wanted my phone back, bitch," and took off again and left me outside all night. I had a concern about it. And just for the record, I had no Snap Food card units at the time when he did that to me. Okay. And I probably didn't have any cash because right, when you're only on that much money a month and you're hanging around with Brian, right? I don't know if I don't remember if I had cash on me, but I know my Snap Food card was empty and his was full. His was full, right? And mine was empty. And that's when he did the weird thing where before he took off of me, he bought food and he actually threw some of it at me after asking me if I wanted food. Like he didn't even take his own fucking food. Like he doesn't eat. That's another way you know that what he's saying is all rambling fucking shit. Right. If he's drinking, or even if he isn't drinking, he said he was still smoking weed and he was high as a kite. He was high as a giraffe's pussy. I mean, why is he even talking like that? That's like old school Brian, right? Like a lapse. So, right, he's admitting that he's still smoking that pot like that if he's that high. He's probably already burnt through it because it's been 3 days. It was only one of those $18 ones if he's smoking more and more and more of it. Okay. So, the pot doesn't work. And Mary's not making you like that because you're high as a giraffe's pussy. You're smoking all the pot you want. You're away from Mary and you're still fucking doing it. You're acting even worse than you were when you were with me. So, anyways, the text messages are all nicey about um let me know about tomorrow. And I actually packed his fucking stuff up today. And Candy said, "So what's going on?" And I said to him in the text messages, "I'm finding out from Candy about what's going on. I don't know if she wants to take me." I go, "I don't know if she wants me to leave," is what her hesitance is. And some of it might be because of his behavior and his refusal to go to a doctor, especially if he's skipping on a mental health appointment. An eye appointment is one thing, but if he skipped on today, if he's skipping on a mental health appointment, that's even worse. Okay, I tried to explain it to him about me and now Candy because especially as the days go on and he's doing that. I haven't She hasn't read everything verbatim, but I've read some of them to her. Okay. Yeah, like I mean, I think if you take a stance that you want this person to be seen, don't let them manipulate you into something else, especially when they're that agitated. Don't let them manipulate you into something else because you don't know what he's going to do. And he should understand that after the thing about "I just wanted my phone back, bitch," because he isn't even able to do what he did that day, where he completely was, "I'm in love with you still," and kisses and stuff, and forgiveness about going to the police and stuff. He's scared to death of something, right? He's scared to death of something there. I didn't go to the fucking police, right? There's at replies to the police that specifically say, "Don't use the fucking police." Right, so I will say this because it's probably gonna happen anyway. I'm glad that I did do that because if the police pick him up, it wasn't Mary that did it. She adamantly asked the police not to do it. And if they were gonna do it, that they didn't do it in a police car with handcuffs and stuff, that they're trying to ask you to agree to go into an ambulance. I don't know if that's what happened with the EMT workers, because don't the cops just call an ambulance anyway? Right, it's just the cops do it, not another person, like Jerry. Remember when Brian called an ambulance for Linda, and they didn't make her go in the ambulance? Okay. I don't think I'm not sure they can do that with the cops. The cops didn't call it, Brian called it for her, so Brian should know that people do that and not get mad. Okay, so, um yeah, I question if he went to the appointment and they got him to transport from an ambulance. Because why the fuck haven't they called his fucking emergency contact wife and told her that? Even with the message on their thing and me talking to his therapist ahead of time. This is what I'm telling you, you really have to be fucking careful of these people. Okay, just if they made up in their fucking heads that we're getting a divorce and shit and I don't wanna talk to him, that's I just sent her a fucking message. Right, you just go, "You people have got to fucking stop it." Anyways, oh, yeah, I just remember when they kept asking me if I wanted to get a fucking restraining order. No, I don't. He told me that the cops told him he should get a restraining order against me, and he didn't do it. Right. But anyways, even with him screaming at me at the library and shit, and then going, I gotta walk away because I feel like I'm gonna punch you in the face, it can be confusing. Yeah, it can be confusing, and I can definitely see why some people just break up with the person, and it doesn't matter what they say, they won't take them back. They're in like a psychosis. Yeah. They're in a psychosis. He doesn't even mean the fucking shit he's saying to me. It's not that I didn't know that I guess that night, but it's now this is the 3rd day, okay, and he hasn't gotten to the point of apologizing yet or going to a hospital where they'd help him calm down. Okay, so I think as soon as somebody is either put in jail or brought to a hospital, their emergency contact needs to be called. Their spouse, their emergency contact. Okay. Clearly, if he's just running around like that, and you know he's married. Don't they usually ask them that? Okay, and he has a phone with my number in it. I don't know if he has Mary Buchanan. Okay, or it says wife Mary Buchanan because in my phone it says husband Brian Buchanan. So, everybody that if you know you have a spouse, really put wife or husband next to it. Okay. That way, if something would happen, someone can call it from the hospital. Okay. So, anyways, it was 8:35 or 8:30. I think it's 8:35 last night is the last time he sent me anything. And he should know, but you know, Brian, okay, that it wasn't set in stone about what's going to happen today. But, like, if Candy wouldn't take me, I can even walk to a train. Alright, like, it's just she's not, like, in charge of me, she's just concerned and trying to help me. That's why today she was gonna drive me there. And I told her, "I don't know if he wants me to just drop off his stuff." I still can't, figure that out from him. If he wants me to just drop off his stuff or bring a bag with blankets. He kept saying blankets. Get it? I was willing to do that on the 2nd day. I don't know if people are understanding that. That was Wednesday. Right. After he told me he was in Harvard, I was telling him he needed to just come back here, and I'll go up to the train with them, and he told me no. Okay. So, then he says in the text it's because he was too angry with me. Alright, good. You're not a danger to me. Get it? Okay, you're not a danger to me. Like, he understood that he knew that he frightened me, and he knows how he gets. So he's not a danger to me. So enough of the fucking toxic shit and domestic violence. Right? It's like every person that's mentally ill that isn't getting proper care and you won't give fucking housing to or incomes and all this shit's going on, you're gonna do that to? Not today. No, not today, because I think that has something to do with the judges and the cops being involved in it. And social media being put back on. You're not doing that shit. If you were doing that to people, you're gonna immediately stop fucking doing it. I've had enough of you people. Your hospitals are being fucking closed down. You're really not getting it. They're not gonna give you radiation treatment. You're still getting radiated, so it doesn't mean that. Oh, hell no. The whole land piece is being cleared, and you still refuse to stop attacking me and my husband. So, anyway, um, we're ongoing right now. So, if you have a concern about stopping those nuclear weapons, you need to fucking find out where the fuck Brian Buchanan is. I told you this a year ago, and apparently you didn't fucking believe me. You didn't see that sky? The electromagnetic field from a militant fucking nuclear weapon? Then it goes on till you're all dead. Yeah, it's not going to be doses and then we wait for you to die from cancer. Nope, because you're getting fucking worse and worse. That's why. You kicked us out of a fucking shelter. You've never forced me out of that shelter before, ever since 2012 have you done that. Okay. This business with making people sit in fucking chairs like that until they have to go to a hospital to drain the fluid out of their fucking legs, that wasn't going on there. That is all new. As bad as the hotel was, they laid in fucking beds. Okay, you're getting worse and worse. You're so insane in the middle of the summer, you're calling it a warming center and forcing people into the shelter from outside. Okay, fucking enough. That is complete dementia. It is because Barbara Kent went through it where she turned the heat up to 90 and her cheeks were all red and she'd be doing a Hail Mary and she refused to stop doing it. A person that demented. Right, you're like, I think God's telling you to stop attacking your daughter, Mary. So anyway, stuck in a house with that for 12 years. No, 13 years. Until April, I was stuck in a house with her. Like Carrie White. Not that's funny. So, anyways, um, we don't have a fight. We don't have a fight. He's still talking like mean to me when I'm being super nice. And he still says, "Are you come bring my stuff tomorrow, please?" So I'm trying to coordinate that with him. Okay. So when I get up, it's all planned basically that I'm going to come out there. I just want to make sure he really wants me to come out there. Okay. So I send like wicked nice text messages to him too, like his regular good night husband text, love you, all this like nice, lovey, positive stuff. Right. I expect to hear from him in the morning because he has an appointment, and I know his phone alarm goes off at either 7 or 8. So by 8:51, I'm already worried, or 8:53 or something, and now it's been 12 hours, over 12 hours. Because it was just weird that he didn't text back to when he found out that I was gonna come out there. So and this is the thing, I think I left a message, didn't I? On his No, I didn't wanna leave a message on his voicemail, right? I text him. Okay, it's 8:53. You have a doctor's appointment today, and I wanted to know about coming out there because we have to drive there to meet you. And I think I said it was after that. I go, I haven't heard from you. It was after that because I haven't heard from you. Let me know when you get done with the doctor's appointment so I can come out there. And I haven't heard anything from him, from text messages or a phone call. I have 2 numbers for him. He should be answering the husband Brian Buchanan one, but I have 2 phone numbers for him because he has 2 phones and he uses that text thing when he has internet. So I've called both of the numbers. He doesn't even have his voice on the voicemail. It goes right to voicemail, and I've been texting him. I suppose I should probably leave a voicemail on the husband one in case he blocked me. I don't know how blocking works, but I'm thinking when you block someone, you don't see their text messages, right? Like when you text them, it doesn't tell you you're blocked, right? You don't know you're blocked. Yeah, I think that's what it is because I remember with that guy Brian at the shelter. Sometimes you can still leave them a voicemail, even though their phone won't ring. You can still leave a voicemail. Should I do that? All right. Unless someone is like figured out to stop that with the blocking. So let's see. I'll leave a message this time.
This is one of those interesting kind of bipartisan. You see bipartisan on both sides here, but I want you to hop in here. I mean, what do you say to Republicans who point out that FEMA has said it does have enough funding in the wake of these storms to for now. Well, I totally agree with what Chris has said because this is a time for bipartisanship and putting people first, getting them that help. And I think some of these local representatives are realizing that Donald Trump and other leading Republicans spreading disinformation is killing their constituents. And by the way, I mean, it's a pretty tough moment to watch that White House press corps repeatedly ask Joe Biden, and he called Donald Trump to ask him to stop.
Hi, Brian. It's Mary. It's like 5:45 p.m. on Friday. I'm a little bit concerned about you because we were texting last night about 8:30 talking about meeting up today at Man at Health for your appointment. And then I haven't heard anything since about 8:35. And I called you this morning about just before 9 to make sure you were up for your appointment and you didn't pick up. And I texted you a couple of times, not like a million times. And I haven't gotten anything back from you. So I'm like concerned now. Uh, Candy was here and we were waiting to find out what was going on. If you wanted me to just drop off your stuff or meet with you and then be with you from now on. And then I think I said in the text, since it's been this long, just go to your appointment and then let me know afterwards. And I haven't heard anything from you. So I don't know if you're still angry or what's going on, but if you could please let me know that you're all right. If you don't feel like talking about other stuff, that's all right. I'm just really concerned about you now, and I love you very, very much. Please contact me. Bye bye. One thing that disturbed me too, um, when he did this before we got married, because my hands were tied like this. Okay. Um, well, yeah, let's hope to God that the police don't actually think that Denise is his emergency contact. Okay, because seriously, I think everybody on the planet knows we're married now. Okay. When I went to the police and we were talking about that, and he goes, "It sounds like he needs to be sectioned." Like the cop was basically telling me, "I don't think he really was just using you." And this is the Quincy police. He goes, "Yeah, we're familiar with that name." And he goes, because I was asking about fraud and sexual assault by coercion because I explained what happened in Plymouth. I think Brian understood that because of everything that's gone on before the wedding. Okay. So, as he can see, I don't do that stuff now that we're married. Okay. So, and I remember what promise I made. If that promise is going to have to go away after this, right. And clearly the cops can do it without me going to them. It's Massachusetts law, and another person can call an ambulance or the cops, just not Mary. So, anyways, what the hell was I just saying? I know I'm losing it because I'm not sleeping. Was I talking about how we didn't get back to? Oh, that's right. So we didn't have any fights in that thing of text from last night. That's why I'm really super concerned. And the fact that I sent my regular good night text and all that, all the like really nice stuff. I sent him a picture of the sky. I send him I think I sent him the video explaining the nuclear weapons and stuff. So, right, this is why I'm concerned. And you go, I mean, as luck would have it, is it possible that someone picked him up? But you go, what time did you pick him up? And at what point can he use the telephone? Or you guys call me. Yeah, I'm like kind of really concerned. But we'll see. I left a voicemail. He didn't want to talk on the phone at all yet. Yesterday was the first day that he would talk at all. And I told you, it sounded like when he was talking, he could tell that he was getting like agitated and it was like not making sense to be doing that. It seems like he got it at that point, which is probably kind of good. Right? He's just like, I can't talk. At first, I was wondering if he was like in the library or other people were around. Um, it could be that he's noticing it now that when he's trying to talk, it's like real, real loud and stuff. I get like that slightly, but I notice it and then, yeah, there's a lot going on with everybody's brains. It's like a normal central nervous system reaction to the ionizing radiation, right? So walking helps get rid of that, and some people go out talking in the street and yelling and stuff. So once you know what's causing it, that's why it's kind of important. I hope that Brian understands what's going on. Okay. Right. So it's like, okay, I get that. You never know. He might have thought to block me, even though we weren't fighting. Yeah, you got to think about somebody who's he said he's all sort of like spent out and stuff. Um, if he thought that there was going to be something, he could have blocked me. I don't know. He clearly hasn't been on Facebook. He hasn't posted anything. He hasn't changed his marital status. He hasn't changed his photo. So that's an improvement from 2023 because he's had a phone all this time. Yeah, that's definitely an improvement. I was doing that shit, but he didn't do it. It's funny because last year someone kept disengaging us and I kept re-engaging us. And I don't know if it was him, but I assume it was. You just go, yeah, maybe when you leave him alone, he calms down. And yeah, it's like if he went into a deep depression, it's like, can you please contact me now? Like, because I remember yesterday he didn't even get mad when I go, are you able to have like a calmer conversation now? He didn't get mad, but then he realized he couldn't when he started talking. So yeah, I mean, I guess maybe he decided if he had nothing nice to say to me, then don't say anything at all. Um, well, it would be pretty silly given what just happened that everything is nice and I was planning to do it, that he's going to now never talk to me because I didn't show up there for the appointment. Right. I told him I'm not holding your stuff hostage. I thought I explained it. Right. But I guess, I mean, again, I probably made another mistake. I guess I probably made another mistake. Maybe I should have just had Candy drive me out there and we just sit there in the truck. For some reason, I didn't think of that. Probably there might be some of that, like if he actually just wants his stuff. Oh yeah, obviously I'd be upset. I probably wouldn't show it to him. I would. I don't attack him and stuff. I don't fight back with a person like that. I don't know if he's expecting that. Um, it's kind of like when I used to leave Quincy when he did it in 2023, and then I would just wallow and cry in my room in High Park. Um, I told him, "You're not going to get a rise out of me anymore. I'm really trying to not do that." Um, then it just escalates. I don't want to be saying all this stuff. I think he said that he doesn't want to be angry at me, is in some of the texts from the last couple of days. So, yeah, that's good as long as he's not drinking. Meaning, okay, that's good, but like, can he see that that's why I told him to go to the doctor's appointment and go to the hospital because they have ways of helping him calm down. He needs to reach out to people more. Right? He needs to reach out to his therapist. This is why I said, and these are the things that I told Brian why I don't like Minute Health. We don't have phone numbers for our therapist. It's a patient portal where you leave a message or you call the front desk. No one's going to hit the if you have a medical emergency, call 911. No one's going to do that. I've had therapists in the past that you have their phone number, at least to a voicemail. Okay, so yeah, I mean, you have to decide what you're doing for work. Right. Don't take on patients like Brian Buchanan if you don't have a contact phone number for him or me to call you. It just so happened by luck that I had an appointment with my therapist. Right. And then I leave messages on a patient portal. Did you see how long it took her to get back to me about appointments? That's all you can leave it on is appointments. So it's a good thing I talked to her. And thank God for Twitter and Facebook, and hopefully people aren't doing all that blocking and stuff anymore. So, well, it probably helps if someone explains to him that it makes sense why I wouldn't go out there like that. Okay, because I was still sort of afraid. Okay. And then I don't know what's going to happen now in terms of I've got to be outside and stuff. Not that I indicated that to him, but because I don't want him to be using that as an excuse for this. We was going to have to leave here. Thursday was the day that him and I said we were going to leave. We told Candy that. I said we were thinking Tuesday or Thursday because Tuesday I got paid and Thursday he had an appointment. So she would have been driving him to his eye appointment anyway. And we would have just said, thank you very much. Obviously, still stay in contact with her just because the housing authority said we had to leave. Right. So a lot of this stuff is, again, because of that. So whoever did that, it's lights out. Just so you know. So, anyways, I don't care what type of justifications people use for what they do. I'm letting you know. Okay. So, like I said, and then the next day was Thursday. And then because of the conversation, I was concerned. Like, and it sounds like he was too. No, I'm sorry. That doesn't even make any sense. I know. I was like, am I losing my mind? Wasn't it a Tuesday? It was a Tuesday night, right? Okay. Maybe Wednesday was like like a wicked long day. No, it was Wednesday. It was the same day. That's why, because I haven't slept. I'm like, I am losing it, but it hasn't been 4 days. Today's the third day. Probably feels like 100 days. Um, it was the same day. That's right. So it was even the same day. That's why it seems even bad. So Wednesday morning, you want your clothes at that time? Okay. But he wasn't asking to come back and he wasn't asking me to leave with him. Okay. And then but then he contacts me. That's what I'm saying. He keeps contacting me. So I think he should have just asked me to meet him at the Mansfield train station on Wednesday morning. That's a mistake on his part, but when he's in that condition, I'm not going to blame him. But in terms of if he was confused about what was going on and it was making him more angry, yeah. If you make decisions about whether or not you want to be with your wife, because he said something about there's going to be problems. I don't think there is going to be problems. So when you make decisions about whether or not you want to be with someone, um, yeah, I mean, it's like if you thought that your person cheated on you and then you found out that you're paranoid or something and they didn't, wouldn't you want to go back out with them? Okay, so because some people go into these paranoid lapses too. So because he didn't say apologize and say he loves me and stuff, and I'm sorry, that was like terrible, and like he may have thought it was over or something, and that he didn't have a right to say that, so he's got to get over that. We're both fucked up. That's why I said that, and the whole situation's fucked up. I knew what I was getting into when I married him. Okay, so he interpreted that as the absolute end, and maybe because I was still talking to him, he wasn't thinking that. And then he was probably thinking, I'm going to go get a tent. Right. Because during that day, something was going on. Right. Because if he's at first, he's like, I'm getting a tent, but like, it's all kind of like mean and stuff too. Right. So he still wasn't calmed down, or he's still in a psychosis or smoking too much pot. And then the blankets and stuff. This is why he kept talking to me about he needs money and this and that. That's not asking me to be with him. Okay. That's not asking me to be with him, and the stuff seems like excuses. Okay. Um, I'm sure. Some people probably go, "This is completely heartless, dude. That she even did this. I can't believe she did this. Never go back with her." Let let sane people decide that, please. It's in some of the text messages I sent to him, and I mentioned it to my therapist. Let sane people decide that. Let the man come out of his episode. Don't even talk to him about that stuff. All you should be telling him is he needs to have a checkup. He needs to go in an ambulance. They're not going to keep him like all the other times. He never got kept like that. He knows that. They only keep him for 3 days at the most. He knows that. Um, it depends probably on the hospital if they can make phone calls, but they have to notify his next of kin, especially when I'm asking where he is. Someone has to notify me that he's in a place. Okay, so I have to assume that's not going on. I know, and I'm not doing this. It's not 2023. I'm not doing it. Okay. I hope Brian understands that because I mentioned the thing about Florida to him a million times. I think he does need a little bit of pressure affixed to him because I've been trying to address some of these very issues for a while. The marijuana, which I had given up on, but then all of a sudden it was like exorbitant amounts and he was acting weird. Okay. And then I mentioned the stuff about needing new therapists, and that's when he started admitting all this fucked up shit to me about he likes Nick because he can get Adderall. He was even mentioning it in the text messages. If he goes to a hospital, he can get Adderall. I don't know if that's him telling me he doesn't need to go to Nick. He doesn't need to go to Nick now and get his blood work done. Or was he, because that's what's bad about text messages. Or was he, and when I try to get clarified from him, he doesn't answer me. Or is he like saying, yeah, I guess I could go to the hospital and get my Adderall, and then I don't even have to worry about my doctor's appointment or something. You never know. He might have been like running ideas in his head. I wouldn't say that text is him like being an asshole. I don't know. So I think I was talking about him with the Adderall. So I guess in the context, you would assume he's saying that, but it doesn't mean that. When you everybody, but I know him and I talking to each other, we have to like ask each other what we're talking about. Yeah. So it's good to get past that where you're just fighting when you're misunderstanding what each other's saying. Okay. So I guess I thought a tent for us to go in because we were talking about what we're going to do when we leave here. See how it's kind of like degrading into not making any sense. Like he said he's confused. I'm confused too. Right. He's confused. I'm confused too. And I think part of it is because he didn't apologize for what happened, which is a wicked major problem for him. So if he's wondering or his friends are wondering, maybe they should ask to read the text messages. Right. Um, don't text shit back to me pretending you're Brian. I don't even think I would like a friend doing that either. Like police and mental health people could call me on a phone. So please don't ever do that. Some people get really sick and do shit like that. Don't do that. He is a grown man that's married. He needs to communicate with his wife himself, not through a friend. Right. Just slow your roll, as Brian calls it. We're not in a toxic or domestic, so people can get really fucked up. I know. So, anyways, um, I don't have anybody doing that except his medical team. And right, except his medical team, his therapist and his doctor and my therapist. Is he a doctor, Nick? Whatever Nick is that writes prescriptions or takes blood or something. And Jane is his therapist and my therapist. Right. So she would probably have to ask him if he minded talking to her. Right. And she'd probably go, yeah, I'm Mary's therapist. I don't know if you remember. She spoke with me and she said it was okay to talk with you. Okay. Um, she knows about the Florida thing too. So, right. It's like you never know if someone encouraged him to go. It's the 11th. Okay. So you've got court on the 21st, and then there's plane tickets for Florida that you guys had already planned before this happened, before the upset for the 22nd. Okay. They probably talk like this. So what do you think about that? Like, what do you think about like what what did you think that Mary was asking you to do? And then if he says he doesn't know, you go, oh boy. Okay. Um, I guess she thought that you were acting erratically. That's probably like a good way to put it. That way they don't get mad, like aggressive and stuff and get defensive. And then she was worried about having a problem because you're in somebody else's public housing. Okay. Right. And then, right. Apparently there was mean words or something. Okay. So she's not like accusing you of being insane or something. Like, have you ever had a thing happen when you were with her before where you took off? Like, that's what he did at Faulkner Hospital. Um, right. In that, or like what happened right before the wedding when he went to jail. Um, right. Have you ever had a thing where you became like angry for a few days and you were like really mean to her? Okay. If they knew about the thing about the phone, that would be a good way to talk to them. And then you said a similar thing where she had property of yours, because before I took the phone back, I had the cigarette stuff that he wanted. Okay. But then when I actually offered to give it to him, he wouldn't take it from me. That's why I think that's his way of getting back with me. But for some reason, there's a disconnect this time. I don't know if it's because I'm not doing what he wants me to do. Yeah, I'm not sure if it's because I'm not doing what he wants me to do. So I definitely don't want to hurt him. That's why I'm getting concerned, but it's part of emotional manipulation. Like, yeah, I mean, it sounds like a good idea to contact your mental health team when something like that happens. And yeah, it's like more stuff that's kind of helping me. He went back on another medication he was off. He was doubling up on his Adderall, and then he was also over medicating on some other medication he's taking. Okay. And then there was like a really large amount of marijuana smoked beyond what you've been doing. Okay. And then I guess your wife thought that you were acting erratically. So um, that's what happened. Like if this is the first time it's happened when you're married, okay, and you don't want to take off, because I think that's what it is. The other time we weren't married yet and he took off. Okay. And it was more public. Whereas he doesn't want to leave, which I understand. It's kind of like the shelter. I don't want him to leave either. But when a situation happens like that, you go, it's not even sectioning. Like, she's helping you, but we don't know if she's helping you because some people need to be sectioned if they keep refusing to call an ambulance when she explains it to you. That's why the cops have to do it. Okay. I think for me, yes, it's because I don't want him to go away for a long time because of Florida. And what am I going to do? How are we going to have a marriage with that type of? Is it really needed? Is it really needed that long? Because I've been in a psych ward myself for a week. Yeah. Probably. Jen doesn't usually stay that long, does she? Okay. They should have thought about this shit before the wedding, because that was 3 weeks he could have been in a psych ward in Knock Avenue. But anyways, he probably doesn't even need weeks and weeks and weeks upon time, because I think we're doing pretty well. The thing about the pod is obviously going to be addressed, and that's up to the doctor if the doctor thinks that's what caused it, because he did agree to never have that much on his possession again.
Are you a good boy?